While I was doing a restoration video on this Ghostbusters firehouse, this came in the mail. I'm super excited about this. This is the Ghostbusters Plasma Pack 40th anniversary or 40 years. And I don't know why Hasbro hasn't been doing this. I know that a lot of people are talking about this, that they could be doing this with G.I. Joe and all of their other IPs. It's really, really nice. We get the four main characters, Egon, Winston, Ray, and Peter. They've got some accessories. And Hasbro also made an Ecto 1. I'm not getting that because there's some issues with that vehicle, and it's unfortunate, but these figures are cool, and I hope Hasbro continues doing this kind of thing. I'm all in if they do. I'm not super excited about the Super 7 stuff that's coming out right now. I am looking for it because I do want to check them out, but they just look like the regular reaction figures. The textures are lacking, the proportions are terrible, and I mean, I still buy them and I like them, but it's too bad that Hasbro just doesn't do it on their own. Let me get these out and then we'll take a closer look. So I'm just putting their accessories on these guys, and you'll see here that the backpack has a spot where you can put the neutrino wand and plug it right in there. I like that, how it fits in there like that instead of just being a hose like a G.I. Joe. And I really like how they did that. There's also a spot here where you can hang the wand on the backpack, which is really neat. And that looks amazing. And it fits on the back of the figure really nice and snug. All of their joints are really, really snug, tight. The only thing that I could say that I don't like about these figures that a lot of the independent makers right now are doing is they're giving those figures articulation at the wrist. Now I know that wasn't something that we saw in G.I. Joe in the O-ring time, but that would have been a nice addition. And the reason I go on about this in my videos is that this is not something new. 6 years before A Real American Hero even came out in '82, Mego was doing wrist and ankle articulation on their O-ring constructed sci-fi figures, Micronauts. And even though these figures don't have wrist articulation, the articulation that they do have is exactly the same as the vintage G.I. Joe O-ring figures, so you can see the O-ring there in the waist, had back in the 80s. It's got the swivel arm battle grip and the elbow articulation. Has the head articulation here, but it doesn't have an up and down articulation, which I don't understand why they wouldn't have that articulation and the wrist articulation too. But as you're moving the figure and articulating, it feels like a quality plastic, and these feel really, really good with lots of texture on the pants. You can see wrinkles and pockets, and you can see pockets and wrinkles on the shirt. Even the hair texture is there. And they hold the wand really well. Their hands also hold the ghost trap really, really well. And they do have a wrist twist on the right hand, and then the left hand it's more down like that. It's kind of weird that they did that, but the way they're holding their accessories kind of makes sense why they're doing that. The only problem that I'm having right now is trying to get the meter to fit in Egon's hands. The handle for it is really large, and although their thumbs seem to be quite malleable so you can open up the hand, the problem with that is eventually this meter is going to make their hands too big, and I think they won't be able to hold their wand as well as they could. So I'm not really sure what to do with that. His left hand seems to have a larger opening than the right, so I'm going to put it in his left hand and see what that looks like. Yeah, so I had to open that quite wide to get that to fit in his hand. So I'll just put it in the left hand so that on the right hand it doesn't get too big, so he can still hold his wand with a nice firm grip. These guys look amazing. They have exceptional likenesses for a 3 3/4 size figure. They look really, really good. The paintwork is pretty spot on. You can see the Ghostbusters symbol on their right arm, and they've got some paint detail on the back. They've got some different paint, some different grays on the belt. You've got the yellow stripe here, like a little wire. But I see some paint problems right here on that strap. And then we got Ray Stantz here with his goggles, really cool. And then of course we have Peter Venkman. It looks really good, looks like Bill Murray for sure. He holds the wand really, really well. And you'll notice that his pant legs are down over his boots as opposed to the other three where they're tucked into his boots. So that is amazing. I'm really happy to get these figures, and I'm happy that Hasbro did these. Now, if you're like me and don't get the Ecto one that comes in this line, well, that's fine, but you won't be able to use it with the original Kenner Ecto one from the real Ghostbusters. It's just too big, even though the scale of this is too small for the figures that came out at the time. It just does not scale to this. The firehouse actually isn't too bad. It almost seems like they could fit in the firehouse really nicely, and I think that it would look good. And not only that, but it's known that the Ecto one that fits in the garage here is actually too big for this garage. The 3 3/4 style one that Hasbro is making now will probably fit in there really nice. And the Ecto one will fit just fine in this garage with these figures. If I was a kid, I would love to have had these figures with this firehouse and a correct scaled Ecto one. So these are scary good. I really like these a lot. They did not disappoint at all. They are totally worth the money that I paid for them. And I hope Hasbro keeps doing this kind of thing in the future. So thanks for watching this episode of Toysbackzen. Let me know if you have these figures yet and what you think of them if you do. If you don't have them, let me know if you're going to get them after watching this review. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and make sure you share this with anybody who you might think will enjoy what I've shown here. See you in the next episode.